Across Ireland, ancient stone towers still rise above the ruins of medieval monasteries. They were tall, narrow, and unmistakably Irish, but their strangest feature is usually the entrance. The doorway is often several metres above the ground, with no stone staircase leading up to it. For generations, this was explained as a defensive measure. Monks supposedly climbed inside, pulled up their ladder, and waited for Viking raiders to leave. But is that really why Ireland's round towers were built? Or did these remarkable buildings have an entirely different purpose? Ireland's round towers were constructed at important churches and monasteries, mostly between the 10th and 12th centuries. They were usually freestanding buildings, separate from the church itself, and many rose to a height of 30 metres or more. Inside were several wooden floors connected by ladders. Small windows admitted lights, while four larger openings were commonly positioned around the highest floor. The tower narrowed gradually as it rose and was normally completed by a conical stone roof. Ireland may once have had as many as 120 round towers. The remains of approximately 80 survive today, although many are incomplete. Only a handful were built outside Ireland, and those were connected with Irish religious foundations in Britain. The strongest clue to their original purpose is found in their Irish name. A round tower was called a cloigtheach, which literally means bell house. That name strongly suggests that their primary purpose was to hold bells. The bells could call the monastic community to prayer, mark important moments in the day, or summon people during an emergency. Placing them near the top of such a tall building allowed their sound to travel across the monastery and into the surrounding countryside. Those four large openings near the roof also allowed the sound to travel in different directions. But the tower communicated visually as well as through sound. A tall stone tower could be seen from a considerable distance. It marked the location of the monastery for travellers and pilgrims approaching across the landscape. It also demonstrated the importance and wealth of the religious community capable of constructing it. Building a tower 30 metres high required skilled stoneworkers, considerable resources, and careful planning. A monastery with a round tower was announcing that it was an important centre of religion, learning, and influence. But what about those elevated doorways? Surely they must have been designed to keep attackers out. Defence may have been one advantage, but current archaeological thinking offers another explanation. Round towers were extremely heavy structures, yet some were built with surprisingly shallow foundations. Cutting an entrance at ground level would have weakened the tower at the exact point where its walls carried the greatest weight. Placing the doorway several metres above the ground preserved the strength of the lower walls. The entrance was probably reached by wooden steps or a ladder, but this was not necessarily something that monks pulled up every time danger approached. Nevertheless, Ireland's monasteries certainly faced danger. Beginning near the end of the 8th century, Viking raiders attacked religious settlements in search of precious metalwork, food, captives, and anything else they could carry away. Irish rulers also raided rival monasteries, so the threat did not come exclusively from Vikings. During an attack, a round tower offered thick stone walls and an elevated entrance. People, relics, and valuables could be moved onto its upper floors, making it a useful place of temporary refuge. But temporary is the important word. Round towers were not purpose-built fortresses. They usually had only one entrance and no alternative means of escape. Their floors, ladders, and other internal fittings were made from wood. Attackers who reached the base could start a fire, filling the tower with flames and smoke. Irish records describe towers being burnt and people dying inside them. Instead of being an impenetrable sanctuary, the tower could become a trap. This did not mean that monks never sheltered inside round towers. They almost certainly did. It simply means that refuge was one of several uses, not necessarily the original reason for their construction. The upper floors could also protect manuscripts, relics, bells, and other sacred objects. Monasteries possessed beautifully decorated books, reliquaries associated with important saints and valuable religious vessels. Moving them into a tower placed them above ground and behind strong stone walls. The towers may therefore have functioned as bellhouses, landmarks, storerooms, and emergency shelters at different times. Their construction also helps explain why so many remain standing. The walls were thickest near the bottom and became narrower towards the top, reducing the tower's weight as it rose. Their circular shape distributed the weight without the vulnerable corners found on square buildings. Small window openings left most of the wall solid, while a stone conical roof protected the interior from Ireland's rain. The wooden floors disappeared long ago, and many towers lost their original roofs, but the stone shells often survived. Their compact shape and exceptional masonry allowed them to outlast many of the churches and wooden monastic buildings that once surrounded them. However, the surviving ruins also remind us that these towers were not indestructible. Some collapsed in storms, were damaged by fire or lightning, or were dismantled so that stone could be reused elsewhere. So, what were Ireland's round towers really for? The most accurate answer is not simply to escape the Vikings. Their Irish name reveals their primary identity. They were bellhouses. But they were also landmarks, symbol of monastic wealth, places for safeguarding precious objects, and, when danger arrived, temporary refuges. That combination of religious purpose and practical use is what makes them so fascinating. More than 1,000 years later, Ireland's round towers still rise above the landscape, silent now, but once visible and audible for miles around. So, which Irish round tower have you visited? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to Ireland Remember for more stories from Ireland's past. Thank you.